What's doing, everybody? Today is Tuesday, September 2nd. Sheriff Richard Mack joins me on the podcast today. We had the Trump health hoax over the Labor Day weekend, and now Trump questioning the success of Operation Warp Speed. I'm AlecLace. This is the AlecLace Show.
The American family is under attack. Parents are the underdog of this nation. Your children are being indoctrinated. That's right. Your children. They do not belong to the state. They do not belong to the school system. They belong to you, the parents, as a blessing from God our Father. So let's preserve, protect, and fight for the American family together. You're listening to the AlecLace Show. The future is family.
All right, welcome, everybody, to the AlecLace Show. I'm happy and honored, as always, to be here with you guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching the broadcast as it streams live on Rumble, please get down there, hit the share button. Let's get as many people into that live broadcast as possible. Hope all of you had a great Labor Day weekend. Spend some time with your families. I know all the kids, my kids, everybody's going back to school starting this week. I know you people that live down there in the South, or whether you guys have already been back. You guys start late August. We start here in Jersey this week. So kids going back to school, and, everyone kind of getting their last licks in for the summertime over the weekend. But over the weekend, the biggest thing that I think that was trending all weekend was Trump's health. This Trump health hoax has been so stupid to watch. And it really, if you're not on X, maybe you didn't even see it. So if you probably didn't even pick it up. I don't know. Some of the mainstream media was questioning it, but nowhere was it like crazy like it was on X. And I think it's a combination of two things. One is people are kind of mocking the way that we were when Joe Biden was president, how we were constantly saying, like, where is Joe Biden? Why is he not talking to the media? Questioning Joe Biden's health, his mental faculties. And so I think a lot of it is them trying to make fun of that and trying to kind of now look at it like do the same thing with Trump. Where is Trump? Nobody has seen Trump. What about his health? Is he meant like they're questioning? Imagine questioning Trump's mental faculties, right? And the last public appearance that he had prior to today was he gave a 3.5-hour press briefing or 3.5-hour cabinet meeting where he answers questions, more questions than any other president in history. He answers with the media. But they know this, and they're trying to project it and try to make it seem like the White House hiding something. So we had to listen to these Trump health hoaxes all weekend long. You had Trump, is Trump dead? Was trending on social media over the weekend. And it's, even though that he came out and he was shooting golf, then they started to say like, he's wearing the same clothes as he was in these other photographs to try to trick people. He's wearing the same clothes that he always wears when he plays golf. Like, it was so dumb to watch them go over this. And the people trying to, I think really there is something going on here. The White House is trying to hide something. And now today, Trump will be making an announcement, and all signs point to it as a SpaceX announcement, relocating the headquarters of SpaceX. That seems to be what the inside skinny is on the announcement today, which will happen right after the broadcast today. It should happen at about 2 o'clock. He'll be making an announcement from the Oval Office. But it's just, they'll do anything to try to sabotage President Donald Trump. They have the questions about his health, and it's the same people that watched Joe Biden walk around like a vegetable for 4 years and told you that he was sharp as a tack. And we all seen what was going on, even though they ask you not to believe your own eyes. And that's what they do. The media asks you, and the Democrats have constantly asked you to not believe what you're seeing. Don't trust your own eyes. Don't trust your own reality. Listen to us instead. Whereas you can see Trump transparently talking to the media, holding his own press conferences, asking questions, answering questions at random from all comers in the room. Nothing scripted. He's always stops and talks to the press no matter what he's doing. And they're going to try to tell you this is a guy that's unhealthy. He keeps a schedule that most people in their 50s would not be able to keep up with. He's relentless. And they try to tell you that, he might have a mental issue or he might not be healthy. And then it was the exact opposite when it was President Biden. So the whole Trump health hoax thing I thought was so silly. And I can't believe some of the people that I was watching on X that jumped into it. But I guess that's the whole point of doing it, right, is to make you start questioning it. Well, maybe there is really something going on with Trump's health. Maybe they are hiding something. Now, the people on the left, they want to see him dead anyway, so they're cheering and rooting for it. I got a few of that on my comments on some of my videos and on X. We're just preparing for when he does go. We're just practicing our celebration. It's like these people are sick. As much as we were talking about Biden being a mental health crisis, we weren't saying anything like that. You didn't see people hoping for Biden's death the way that they are hoping that President Trump dies. It's just the people are sick on the left, man. They really are. And so you had to deal with that all weekend long. One of the other things that we saw over the weekend was Mayor Giuliani was involved in a very, very bad car accident, and I pray for him that he gets better soon. I love Mayor Giuliani, legendary New York City mayor who led the city through 9/11, which will be coming up the anniversary 9/11 next week. But Trump talked about him getting the Medal of Freedom, giving him, awarding him that. And it was just, sad to see Rudy Giuliani been through so much, targeted so much, and he really is a great American. And sucks to see him hurt, and I wish him the best, hopefully for a healthy, speedy recovery. I know they said he got like a fractured spine or some serious injuries from a car accident. So I hope his health obviously in jeopardy, and hoping that he does come back strong and ready to go. I mean, I'd love to get him back on the show too. So hopefully he gets better soon. So that was one of the other things that was trending over the weekend. And obviously also too, you had the UK trending over the weekend. The UK has risen up. They are sick and tired, just like we were here or are here, about the illegal immigrants that are just pouring into the UK, and they are tired of it because obviously their rape numbers have gone up. The rapes and assaults against women are increasing, and they're all coming from one direction. They're all coming from these illegal immigrants that they've imported into their country. They're putting up these illegals in these hotels, costing the British people hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and the people are fed up. And then what they're doing is, just like you've seen like here, they are arresting the protesters and going harder on the protesters than they are on the illegals that are committing the crimes. And so the people in Britain are saying, what the hell is going on here? So the UK is rising up. They have had enough of this Keir Starmer sticking up for the illegal while allowing the local citizen to go punished. And they're not having it. They want to see it stop, just like we wanted to see it stop here. And Trump was able to do that for us. He came in and closed the border. We were sick and tired of seeing it. Same MO, same thing here. And you got to wonder, why is it that you see these countries in the West taking in all of these illegal immigrants, asylum seekers? Predominantly, you see in the UK, it's these Muslim extremists that are coming into the cities, coming into the UK. We've seen them coming here. And what's interesting is, like, you have countries like the UAE who will never take them in. Right? The UAE and these other places like over in Dubai, they will not allow them to come into their country. They don't care what anybody says. You're not allowed in. And for some reason, the U.S. and Britain are like, oh, yeah, we'll take you in here. Like declaring the Muslim Brotherhood a terrorist organization. Like, we won't do that here. Right? Well, Trump now says he's doing that, but we didn't declare the Muslim Brotherhood a terrorist organization. They did it in other Muslim countries. They weren't as stupid as we are. They've declared them a terrorist organization. They won't have anything. They're banned from their country. But over here, it's like, oh, well, no, not us. We're more accepting than the actual. We're more accepting of Muslims than Muslim communities. It's like the same thing with the Palestinian refugees. None of these Muslim countries will take them in. But we're going to take them in. How does this make any sense? So it's great to see that the UK is rising up and trying to put a stop to all this stuff. Now, I think, and again, we're going to have Sheriff Mack here in a little bit, talk about all the crime that's been going on, and then the brutal weekend in Chicago. One of the most important things I think Trump has posted over the weekend was his thoughts on the vaccine and on Operation Warp Speed. So he put this up on Truth Social. It is very important that the drug companies justify the success of their various COVID drugs. Many people think they made a miracle that saved millions of lives. Others disagree, with CDC being ripped apart over the question. I want the answer, and I want it now. I have been shown information from Pfizer and others that is extraordinary, but they never seem to show those results to the public. Why not? They go off to the next hunt and let everyone rip themselves apart, including Bobby Kennedy Jr. and the CDC, trying to figure out the success or failure of the drug companies' COVID work. They show me great numbers and results, but they don't seem to be showing them to many others. I want them to show them now to the CDC and to the public and clear up this mess, one way or the other. I hope Operation Warp Speed was brilliant, as many say it was. If not, we need to know about it and why. Okay, so obviously Bobby Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., is in President Donald Trump's ear and has been. This was the thing. You saw it happen on the campaign trail leading into the election, whereas in the very beginning of the Trump campaign for 2024, he would constantly reference Operation Warp Speed. And by the end of his campaign, he didn't mention it at all. And that is because the pushback from the Trump supporters about the failure of the vaccinations is allowed. I mean, and it's definitely one of my biggest criticisms. If I was to have a criticism of Trump, it is the fact that he still promotes the COVID vaccine, which has been proven absolutely worthless. And he was bamboozled. There's no question about it that Trump was given bad and false information during COVID-19 and was trying to solve, and to his, obviously to his credit, trying to solve what he saw as a mass epidemic that was happening all over the world and was getting the result. People are dying. He needed to save lives. Trump's number one instinct is to save lives, whether that be in a war in Ukraine or whether that be in a city like Chicago or during COVID-19. His first thought is, how do we save as many lives as possible? And that's always his focus. And he was misguided during the entire thing by people like Dr. Fauci and these people at Pfizer and these pharmaceutical companies. There's no question about it. And the question of whether or not the vaccine worked or not has been put to bed. You can't even question whether we all know the vaccine didn't do nothing. It's not even a question. So it's like that topic of was the vaccine, the question really is the vaccine harming people? That's the only thing that remains. What has Pfizer and these other Moderna, what have they hidden about the side effects of the vaccine? That's all that's left. What was the vaccine safe and effective? 100% no. We now know we could say that clearly with a definite fact as proof that the vaccine was not effective. It worked for only two people, the people who made it and the people who sold it. That's the only people the vaccine worked for because they got really fat in the bank account because of it. Other than that, it worked for nobody. And the progression of it was wild to watch because and the people that actually started, again, reality waking up the Democrats or not even Democrats. You had a lot of people on the right also believing in the false prophet of the vaccine, the false prophet of Dr. Fauci. But the problem was that people took the vaccine and then still got COVID. And some people were blind enough to say, well, that's just a freak thing that happened. So they would get the next dose and the next dose. So those people you're never bringing back. But the average normal person that was, say, vaccinated against the measles and never got measles in their life and then got the COVID vaccine and then continued to get COVID immediately started to question the narrative. And that's where they started losing people. And then when that Omicron variant came along, everybody that was vaccinated got it. And then it was, it's a different variant. You got to get an updated booster. And then it's a rare breakthrough case. And it was like the jig was up at that point. Everyone knows that this was just a waste of time, the whole thing. And the fact that people like me who are unvaccinated weren't even getting COVID. And now it seems to be, according to the science and according to the reports, the people that are dying are the people that were vaccinated. But everyone will argue over the study. Oh, no, I'll show you this statistic. I'll show whatever statistic's going to help my argument, I'm going to show you. But the reality, you can't lie about. And the reality is people that got the COVID shot were still getting COVID and still transmitting COVID. So I think we're at a point where President Donald Trump has realized that something is amiss here. There's a miss somewhere between Pfizer, the CDC, what RFK Jr. is saying, and what his supporters are saying. And he wants to find out the answer to it. And just like when I had Dr. Peter McCullough on here last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, the major red flag in this is that they can't be sued, right? So when you have a what do you want to call it? A get out of jail free card, or you get you're free from any type of lawsuit. You don't fear any of that. So you can press on with this stuff the way these pharmaceutical companies do. So I think you have to remove that immunity, the word I'm looking for. And I was struggling deeply for that word. I think that you have to remove that immunity from these drug companies. Number two, we're tired of seeing these drug companies being able to advertise on TV. That should be gone. And it needs to be about just straight up helping people get healthy, not about helping other people get wealthy. And it seems like that's what it's more about. Health isn't profitable for these pharmaceutical companies. And that's the biggest issue I think they face. Keeping you on the morphine drip is profitable. Solving the issue is not profitable. It would be like almost like a heroin dealer who sells Suboxone. That's what it would be like for these medical industry to cure you, right? Suboxone is what will instantly block you from getting high from an opiate. So as someone selling heroin would never sell you that. He would never say, hey, take this. It'll stop you from getting high. You won't need to get high anymore. They'll never do it because it would kill the business. It's the same thing with the medical industry. They're not going to cure anything. What's the point? They need a constant flow of money. So anyway, not to beat a dead horse there, but it's like the people like me that you've heard for a very long time here, still very pissed off about the way we were treated during COVID-19 and trying to make sense of all of this and why it happened. And I think that a lot of people should be in prison for what has happened. Number one, Dr. Fauci. Number two, the scarf lady. So hopefully President Donald Trump gets to the bottom of all this stuff. It's really, really is aggravating to watch, and it has been for years. All right. Also, obviously, trending over the weekend, the crime out of control in Chicago, and it's getting worse and worse. Trump tweeting about this. At least 54 people were shot in Chicago over the weekend. 8 people were killed. The last 2 weekends were similar. Chicago is the worst and most dangerous city in the world by far. Pritzker needs help badly. He just doesn't know it yet. I will solve the crime problem fast, just like I did in D.C. Chicago will be safe again soon. Make America great again. And if you look at the website that tracks this, I always go to this Hey Jackass, and you look at Chicago over the last 10 Labor Days, you can see that this has been an issue. This isn't like an isolated thing. If you look at the last 10 Labor Day weekends. So this one has, this past weekend, 9 killed, 51 wounded. Last year, 9 killed, 27 wounded. And as we go down the list, 11 killed, 41 wounded. 15 killed, 47 wounded. 9 killed, 57 wounded. 12 killed, 46 wounded. And it just goes down. So it's like you could predict that this is going to happen. And the fact that the leaders are turning they're turning this into a thing against Trump is mind-boggling. And that's exactly what they are doing. This J.B. Pritzker and the mayor, whose approval rating is at like 9%, they're blaming Trump for wanting to solve this problem, and the people in Chicago are pissed. And we have now proof again. Reality getting in the way. Donald Trump showed you how easy it is to do it. He did it in Washington D.C. with success immediately. And one of the other things that is going on here, too, is you have the sheriff's departments are getting sued now for helping ICE with their detentions, with the deportations. So I wanted to kind of hit on the crime that's out of control in these Democrat-run cities, along with the deportations that are going on in these Democrat cities, who are trying to harbor and protect the illegal immigrant at the expense of the American citizen. They're trying to protect the criminal at the expense of the American citizen, and you can't figure out why. It's very mind-boggling. But let me bring on Sheriff Richard Mack. and he's going to break it down for us. I know right now you have lawsuits going against the sheriff's departments. Sheriff departments can help with the crime that's going on. They could also help with the deportations that are going on. They play a big role. Nobody knows that better than Sheriff Mack. Let's bring him on the podcast.
Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm at the White House with my dad, and you're watching The AlecLace Show.
You're listening to the AlecLace Show. The future is family.
All right, joining me now, Sheriff Richard Mack. Welcome back to the AlecLace Show.
Alec, it's great to be back with you. Thank you so much. I really admire what you do for America and what you do on your podcast and your book. And wow, you remind me of me.
Well, I always appreciate when you come on here. I know you're busy. There's so much happening. I wanted to ask you about the lawsuits that are happening against the sheriffs. I wanted to start with that because you got lawsuits, Colorado lawsuits, New York, Ohio, suing the sheriffs, local sheriffs, because they're partnering with ICE. What's the story with all that?
You forgot Washington State, which is the worst one.
Okay.
Yeah. And so actually, because of Washington being the worst one, we are raising money to have a big CSPOA, Constitutional Sheriff Conference in Washington. And so they won't be able to ignore us because we've got to let them know. Ever since many sheriffs all across this country, Washington included, very much so, refused to enforce COVID-19 mandates. There was a lot of people who actually thought that was unconstitutional and unlawful. And the state, the government, whether it's the state or county, city, federal, they cannot force you to wear a mask. They cannot force you to take a vaccination. That smacks of Gestapo, Nazi Germany. And so if we live in a free society, we will choose our own medical procedures, and it cannot be forced by government. Eugenics, it kind of sounds similar, doesn't it? So this is the issue. We looked at the worst state in the union, worse than New York, Illinois, California. And so we're going to Washington. Sheriff Mack goes to Washington. This sounds like a new James Stewart movie, doesn't it? But this is the issue. We have got to go into the belly of the beast and fight it because they are suing sheriffs in Washington state for simply helping ICE get rid of the worst criminals in the history of our country. And so this is so astonishing that the Democrats have never come out and say, well, yeah, of course we want law and order. Of course, we're the party of law and order. We just don't want you going after the people picking the fruit. But you can go ahead and get the human traffickers, the drug dealers, the people that brought in fentanyl. Then you'd have to arrest a lot of politicians if you did that. And the cartels and the international terrorists that our administration, our party allowed into the country in the first place. You see, this is so the antithesis of American ideals and of the American Republic that I don't see how the Democrats look at this and go, "Oh yeah, we're really set to get reelected on this." This is a huge boon for our political structure and strategy. We've got this made. The American people are with us because we want to keep these horrible illegal aliens and criminal element in our country. This is absolutely astonishing. Oh, and by the way, if any of your followers here on the program today would like to help us raise the money for this conference, we really need the help. Please go to cspoa.org and make a donation so that we can make this thing a big splash and really make it worthwhile for what for the sheriffs that we're bringing in to be speakers.
Yeah, I got the link down in the description as always for my listeners to go and give you guys a hand. It doesn't. This is the thing, Sheriff, that really boggles the mind that they think that this is a winning strategy to fight against the Crime Stoppers. Like
I
that it
know.
does. It really is. It's one of those things. What is the angle that we're missing here? What is it that they think they're going to rally the base by saying we're going to stop people from preventing crime? It's more of the upside down world that does. But it's not like they're just lightly going. They're pressing hard on this stuff.
It's really astonishing. And I saw it again on the news this morning, and it seems to keep going and going. The national media is obsessed with attacking Trump no matter what he does. The success that he's had cleaning up Washington, D.C. Just took a few days, when you really try. And it looks like the mayor now, he's complimenting her that she's trying to work with him in making that happen. I know the chief of police came out in favor of it right off. And so did the police union in Washington, D.C. And just so everybody knows, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 of the United States Constitution grants complete authority to the federal government over 10 miles square to Washington, D.C., so Washington, D.C. doesn't even have to be, it has no authority over the U.S. Capitol. That is exclusively for the United States government. The United States government runs Washington, D.C., where it encompasses the 10 mile square. And that's the term used in the United States Constitution. And so there is no question that they have the authority to do that. In Article 4, Section 4, it talks about the federal government can move in to prevent civil disobedience and civil disobedience and violence. And so President Trump has a lot of authority to be doing this. What I have said, President Trump shouldn't be placed in the position of having to clean up the rest of the country. They should do that on their own, and the sheriffs should be stepping in to help instead of sitting back on their butts looking at all this happening and doing nothing. They have concurrent jurisdiction with Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles. There's also a county of Los Angeles, and Los Angeles City is inside that county, and the sheriff has the authority over that. Now, we've have a sheriffs and chiefs of police have a gentleman's agreement that the city will handle everything within the city limits, and the police and the sheriff's office will handle everything outside the city limits. If they fail to do their job, the sheriff can move in and he should just say, "Hey, look, we have the resources. We're coming to help." Whether they like it or not. Now, he should meet with them, obviously, and discuss it with them and let them know, if you don't take care of this, I will. But no, now Trump is forced to decide, do I allow this criminal element to keep going or not? And Chicago had another 54 shootings over the Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing, Sheriff. And nine were killed. But if you look at the trajectory of the last 10 Labor Days, you could predict that there was going to be about 9 people killed, because every Labor Day weekend, there's 50 people shot, 9, 10, 11 people murdered. And we know this is going to happen. Statistically, you can look at the chart, and you don't have to be like a fortune teller. You can say, well, there's going to be at least 50 people shot this weekend, and almost 10 or more are going to be murdered. And there's nothing we can do to stop it. We're just going to report on it. And like, we know it's happening. And that's the thing that doesn't make any sense. They used to say, like, a few years ago, when you would talk about, anytime you even talked about Chicago, they would say you're racist. And the reason they would do that is because all the people that are dying are black. So it's like, do these people want to see more? Where is like the Black Lives Matter movement? Trump came in. All the people in Washington, D.C. getting murdered and violated were black. He came in and stopped that from happening. You would think they'd say, thank you, President Donald Trump. He's the only one doing something. But you have places like Chicago, they're like, no, stay out, despite the fact that the crime is out of control.
Well, and if you ask the citizens of Chicago, many of them are thanking President Trump. Yes,
begging for him to come
save us. Yeah, exactly. So, look, the ultimate goal in America is peace, safety, and freedom. And when you're living in constant fear, you cannot be free. So if any, in my Supreme Court case, it says Justice Scalia quotes the Federalist Papers, and he says that, quoting Federalist 51 from my Supreme Court case, and folks, this is available at our website. You should get this review of the Supreme Court case. The only time sheriffs sued the federal government and won at the U.S. Supreme Court. And in this, get this, he says the different governments will control each other at the same time that each will be controlled by itself. If a government refuses to control itself and refuses to protect the people therein, we have a responsibility. The president, any other government, the cities, the counties, the sheriffs, different governments. It doesn't say the head government. It doesn't say the most important government. It says the different governments will control each other. So that's what's happening here. Because what's the ultimate goal? Peace, security, and freedom. And if you don't have that, then somebody needs to come and take care of it.
And those are the well said, Sheriff. And those are the legality parts of this thing. It's like that's for the people on the news to debate, and people in Washington to debate. The people on the street, the families on the street, they don't really care about all that. All they want to do is be able to walk down the street to the bodega and not get shot. I mean, that's all that they really want. I mean, they're not looking for, how does this have to happen? How can I just live in my neighborhood and not have to have bars on the windows? Like, can we get to a point, and we're in the richest country in the world. You walk through some of these places in D.C. or you walk through some of these places in New York City. You got bars on the window, people frightened for their life. How, and nobody is like saying, hey, you know what? We don't have to live like this. There's another option. However it has to happen, come in and clean it up so we can start living like human beings again. I mean, and Trump showed you, it's possible to do it. He gave you the blueprint. Said, look, this is how simple it would be for us to do it. Let us bring this to your neighborhood. And they're rejecting it. And the people there, you see the viral videos everywhere. They're begging Trump to come on in because just like anybody else, they just want to live free.
Yeah, the mayor of Chicago wouldn't even admit that having more police would help. I mean, he won't even answer the question. He won't tell the truth to his own people about this because of the Trump derangement syndrome. And that's so astonishing that none of these people, the mainstream media or no Democrats, can say, you know what, this is probably a pretty good idea. We ought to work with President Trump on this. But no, they will not do it. They just do not have the humility to ever say Trump has done some good, or he's got a real point here, or he's got an idea here. Maybe we ought to look at this, because we've been saying for decades now that the black on black crime in Chicago and Washington, D.C. is something that Democrats need to address, and they refuse to. So here's Trump taking over.
They just call you racist for talking about it. They don't even want you to bring it up. Right. And that's the thing. Like, Sheriff, I keep constantly saying that the biggest problem for the Democrats is reality, because no matter what they could say, they can say, hey, we have the solution for this. We know we could do this with reinforcing policing or reimagining police. They could talk all this, but we have a lengthy history of decades of them in control of these cities where nothing changed. So it's not like they haven't had 1 year to try it, 2 years to try it. They've been in control of these cities for decades, and the problem's only gotten worse. So now it's time to say, okay, you've had your try at this. It has not worked. Your policies suck. People keep dying. People keep getting shot. Now it's time to allow another policy to come in and try to straighten this out. And the reality is that their policies don't work, and you just have to look at the results to see it.
Yeah, really, that's the sad thing about this. They've had plenty of time to address it. And then what does the mayor say? We're worried more about housing. For the tens of thousands of people that live in the projects in both Washington, D.C. and Chicago, do you know how long it would take to build everybody a home or to make sure that they're in a nicer apartment? I would love to see the projects torn down and have nice apartments or nice homes, but that's a project that will take decades. And we're right now, you can live just about anywhere as long as you take care of it. But they're not. And I admit that it's really rough to have a life when you don't live in a nice apartment or a nice home. But to say that that's the solution for the violence that's going on and has been going on for decades, we need to wake up and get some new leadership in Chicago. And Washington, D.C. seems to be waking up. They're going, hey, you know what? This is working. We're going to definitely try to work with President Trump. Wow, what a miracle. And so I have to tell you, when I was in the FBI National Academy in 1991, as sheriff, I got an invitation to go to that. It's an 11-week course. There was a man by the name of Reggie Smith that was in my class, and he was from Washington, D.C., and he was a lieutenant, and he was over patrol. And I said, Reggie, can I go riding with one of your officers in your worst crime zone? He goes, yeah, that'd be precinct 7. He says, yes, you can go, but you can't carry a gun. I said, well, I don't even have one with me here, but I was hoping you would loan me one. He says, no, I won't be able to put you in with a gun. And I said, I still want to go. And it was code 3 the whole night. I spent about 4 hours riding along with a sergeant over patrol. And it was just code 3. You know what code 3 is in law enforcement talk? That's lights and siren. That's all it was, Alec, all night long, from one stabbing to one shooting to one big family fight, people getting beat up in the streets, and there I was standing there next to the officer and no gun. But I'm telling you, I learned a lot, and it was an absolute war zone. And folks, this has got to be taken care of, and we need to stop worrying about who's doing it and who's getting credit. We just need to get the job done, protect these people, and offer them something new.
And it is that simple, Sheriff. It is just get the job done, get in there and make it safe again, and it's possible to do it. Instead, the virtue signal, they feel like if we paint Black Lives Matter on the street, that's going to solve the crime problem. Like it's all nonsense. And then they pick like isolated incidents. They try to claim, oh, look, the whole police department is racist. Everyone is It's like they'll pick some dirtbag criminal and paint them up like he was some innocent person. Oh, he was targeted because he was black. They split everybody by race, and then nothing happens with the problem. We're sick of the same MO. They've been doing it for decades. Trump knows it's nonsense, and so he's changed. Let me switch gears before I have to let you out of here. It's just because of the deportations. I know usually when I have you on here, we talk about the sheriffs, how they can help out with the deportations that have been going on. The deportations, I think we're up to like 150,000, something like that have been booted out of here. We got a long way to go. What is the status right now, and where the sheriffs, I know you're being sued out of all over the place for helping ICE, but where do we stand right now with the sheriffs and how they are working, coordinating with ICE to ramp up deportations?
Well, the greatest example of this is Florida. The Florida sheriffs voted unanimously with Governor DeSantis to help. 100% of the sheriffs signed off on helping with deportation. I think since then, one has changed his mind. So getting 66 out of the 67 to help with deportation, this is powerful stuff. They've set an example for the rest of the country, and we put it out to all the sheriffs. Look, no one can force you to help or not to help. No one. That is your choice between you and your constituents. The people are in charge of the sheriff. They answer to the people. They don't answer to a bureaucrat or a bureaucracy. They don't answer to another politician. They answer to the people. And that's what these politicians that are trying to go after the sheriffs for helping and doing their jobs, that's why they're out to lunch. They are not in charge of the state legislature is not in charge of your sheriff. You are. We the people are. The first 3 words of the Constitution, we the people. And so that's what these stupid politicians can't get through their thick heads. We are a constitutional republic, not a democracy. Your mobocracy does not control the sheriff. The people that appointed him, the people who elected him or them, are his boss, not you. And that's our message that we're going to take to Washington with us, folks. And it is vital that we keep the sheriffs independent and working for you and not these other crazy politicians.
I think that's something that too. People forget that the sheriff is an elected position. I mean, they're elected people. They're not like the regular, captain of the police or whatever it may be, state police. These are elected by the people, as you're saying. I think people get that confused sometimes with where the sheriffs step in and what their role is in certain times when you hear state, local law enforcement and stuff like this, and where the sheriffs all play into that. But it's a vital role, like you said, and now is the time where if you don't see the community doing well, the sheriffs have the opportunity to come in there and help. And we need it, Sheriff. I mean, we're tired of living like this. We're tired of seeing it. We're tired of seeing the innocent people, the bystander, the pregnant mom, all these, the grandfather, people getting shot and stray bullets. It's like we've had enough of it. We're so sick of seeing it and hearing it, and we're tired of the Democrats with their gaslighting and talking about how everything is racism and we can solve the issue. Enough's enough. We want to see it come to the end. Let me give you the final word and let the listeners know where they can go and help you guys out.
Well, I would still, just to wrap up, I would still love to see any of these Democrat governors and mayors and other leaders, county attorneys, prosecutors. I would love to see them. We've got a plan. We're going to implement it, and this is what we're going to do. None of them, not a single one, none. And so the lack of leadership is really very telling here, folks. All of us need to understand that. But I want all of your listeners here to understand something else. There is a peaceful and effective solution for all of us. From Bangor, Maine to Honolulu, Hawaii, there is a peaceful and effective solution. But we don't have to move forward to get it. We've got to go back. It's in our history. It's behind us. It's in Independence Hall. It's in our Constitution. And when we return to those basic fundamental principles that America was founded upon, we're going to find the solutions. I beg all of you to do just that. And we offer a huge solution at cspoa.org. Come and join us, be part of us, be part of the solution. We are solution oriented, and it's both peaceful and effective.
Well said. I love the work that you do, Sheriff Richard Mack. I got the link down there in the description below. Encourage my listeners. Tap the link if you can help support. If not, share the link to somebody in your network. Put it on your social media. Help them out. Sheriff Richard Mack, always an honor. Love to have you back on down the line. Thanks for joining me today on the AlecLace Show.
Thanks, Alex. Always good to see you, my friend.
All right, grateful to Sheriff Mack for joining me on the podcast. What you guys think about the interview? Hit me with a comment, question there down below. And it's frustrating. I would imagine it's got to be so frustrating for people in law enforcement, people like the sheriff's departments, where they know that they can provide so much help to the citizens, yet they're being handcuffed themselves and they can't do anything about it. Like, that's the thing that you see. That must suck for a lot of police officers, knowing that, how Trump says, like, he gets so frustrated because you see these videos where you got these maniacs, a lot of times white liberal lunatics, is standing in the face of the police officers, screaming and yelling at them, spitting at them, and the police officers are not allowed to do anything. They just have to stand there and just eat crow while these lunatics berate them. And Trump had enough of seeing stuff like that. So that's why he said, you spit, we hit. There's going to be no more of this, treating these people like they're garbage. And it's another thing it's very hard to imagine. It's, the white liberal woman especially, is the most dangerous person in our society right now. And obviously the most mentally ill. I mean, they're mentally ill is what they are. And you see them constantly on social media. It's like it's not nonstop. But just on the crime, what Trump has done, sending in the National Guard, a federal judge today ruled that Trump violated military law by activating the National Guard in California. Judge Charles Breyer's opinion echoed remarks he made during a 3-day trial in which he questioned if presidents have any limits on when they can use the military. So this is all going back to California. You know that Newsom is another one that doesn't want to admit that when the riots were happening out there in L.A., which they were, they try to just tell you the riots never happened. Trump sent in the National Guard and everything ended. It wouldn't have ended unless Trump got involved. And that's the same thing that happens in so many of these other places. But they are so pissed about Trump being right and about Trump having the answer and about being able to solve the problem that they're fighting back. And here's another activist judge ruling against Trump. And it's funny because Gavin Newsom cleaned up San Francisco when Xi Jinping was showing up, right? So That's who like what a fraud that Newsom is. He cleans up the homelessness and the crime out of the way so Xi Jinping and China can come. As soon as they leave, everyone comes flooding back into the streets and it's a shithole again. So, this guy Gavin Newsom, man, it's funny to watch because he's and he's trying to do the same thing too, like with the Trump health thing. Like he's in a similar sense. He's trying to mock President Donald Trump with everything, every tweet that he does. He's like so filled up with thinking that this is the right path to the presidency, is to continue to mock President Donald Trump. The guy is completely highly unliked, and not for nothing. For the Democrat Party that's so into diversity, are they going to really elect another straight white man? I mean, that's their party. So I think he's in for a rude awakening. This guy thinks he's going to be president. He's in for a rude awakening. His own party ain't going to elect him. So I find it comical. What's going to hurt him in the end is going to be his white skin and his straightness, if he is straight. I mean, I'm just assuming that he is. But I think that's going to be the thing that's going to hurt him most. Because I cannot imagine a situation in which the Democrat Party is going to put up another straight white man. I find that highly hard to believe. And so one of the things I wanted to touch on here, too, was, we just had Labor Day weekend. Labor Day weekend, we are in a better position now than we were last year, Labor Day weekend, as far as gas prices go, as far as mortgage rates are starting to come down. The inflation has stopped. Our GDP is rising. Stock market up. We're in a better place in a lot of places. What's interesting is I was looking to see the grocery prices because the White House wasn't touting the grocery prices, and I was looking. They're saying that they're up, I think 2% from where they were last year, and just from my own personal experience, I haven't seen that. I do the food shopping in the family. I usually do it every Sunday. I did it yesterday. It was Labor Day, so I missed on Sunday, so I did it yesterday. But I was curious because now. Listen, I'm a nut when it comes to this stuff. I have a family of 6. There's me, my wife, and we have 4 children. So grocery shopping is essential to doing it right because the costs can get way out of control really quick. It's with 6 mouths to feed, you better be careful with what you're doing. And you know what? Not for nothing. I'm a railroader. And naturally, there's a cheapness that comes along with being a railroader. Anybody out there that works in the railroad or knows a railroader knows exactly what I'm talking about. But it's more like a financial discipline thing is how I like to put it. So I'm very good at if you ain't couponing, you ain't trying, right? So I'm a coupon guy, and I'm a ShopRite loyalist. That's what we have here in New Jersey. I know some people, you don't have that, but that I've been loyal to them for 20 years or more. And so here, I'll put up my receipt from yesterday. And let you guys, this is 82 items that I bought. This is about the average. Sometimes it's more than that I'll buy, but this was 82 items. The total came to $320 with my coupons that I use and the savings that I buy things on sale. I saved 72. And so my total was 248. Now, that's pretty good. Now, I'm just telling you from my own experience. Even again, like I don't buy anything if it ain't on sale. It's got to be on sale, or it's got to be a staple, that I'll get, like milk or eggs or something like that. But other than that, if it ain't on sale, I ain't getting it. Now, much to the chagrin of my children, sometimes they're like, "Hey, Dad, why didn't you get this or why didn't you get that?" And it wasn't on sale, they ain't getting it. I mean, that's just the way it is. Now, last year or during the entire Biden administration, very rarely was I ever able to get that grocery bill under $300 after the coupons, right? So usually I do good with that where, like I said, this time $72 in savings between coupons and stuff that was on sale. Very rarely was I ever able to keep that under $300, and that's with the same 80 items to 90 items that I would get, each week with the food shopping. And so I've noticed the difference. And I don't know if you've seen it. I was curious to kind of get your comments or your takes on that. Are you seeing a difference in the grocery prices where you are? Because I've noticed a drop. Obviously, eggs have dropped substantially, especially if you're buying I'll buy the 30-pack. A lot of times I'll buy the 18, but I'll buy those 30-pack of eggs. 6 mouths to feed. So if I'm buying, a dozen eggs, that's 2 eggs a piece for the week. I mean, that doesn't fly. So we got to go through some of this stuff. But obviously that is down. I'm seeing it overall for me, from my own personal experience that the grocery shopping has become cheaper for me. Now, I don't know if that relates to you. I don't know what makes, who decides. I mean, it's hard to say groceries is such a broad thing to say. What are you buying? Again, are you buying all organic stuff and all this, overinflated, BS, box name stuff? It all depends. But so I think it's pretty good. I mean, getting it down to like I said, this under to hit at 250. And that's been consistent for me about every week now, where normally I was paying over $300 easily during the Biden administration. I could not seem to get it under $300 every week. And that would mean it would be about $370. And then, with my coupons and savings, I would get it down to $300. And that would be, lucky. But now I'm getting it down about $2. So for me, I'm seeing about a $50 a week difference in grocery shopping, which doesn't sound like much, but it's a lot for me. So I was just kind of curious to throw that out there and kind of, ask you guys maybe in the comments or in the chat, are you seeing a noticeable difference at the grocery store? If not, what is costing you more? And again, like I said, I'm a ShopRite loyalist guy, so I go there because I get it all done in one spot. I feel, in my opinion, they got the best prices, so I shop there. And that's what I found. So let me know in the comments what you think down below. Also, too, you got this week, you have the NFL coming back. And it's interesting because the NFL has the opportunity to embrace, the fact that they are back and the fact that, they've overcome the stupidity of Colin Kaepernick and the people kneeling for the flag that so drastically hurt the NFL. It feels like that's almost never happened, that the NFL is back and just about as popular now prior to the Kaepernick gate. And now it seems like, too, they have the gay transgender cheerleaders. I talked about with Jay Feely when I was covering for Chanel Rion on One American News about how stupid it would be to take a chance on doing something like that, to get involved in the conversation again. So one thing I would love to see the NFL do is stop with this BS virtue signaling of end racism in all of the end zones. We've proven that none of that helps anything. You're not helping anybody by putting end racism on the field. It's a stupid virtue signal. It looks ridiculous. Get it out of there. And it's just fascinating to watch. It's the same thing. Trump just recently had them rip up all these stupid rainbow street walks. They ripped up another one, where they painted the rainbow on the street. He had them get rid of the Black Lives Matter thing on the street. These things are done, man. It's so stupid. And it does nothing for anybody but virtue signal. So I would love to see the NFL stop doing that. But, a lot of people back into the, ready for the NFL this week. If you guys are going to be taking your kids to a game, if you're going to be buying tickets, my promo code is back active again on SeatGeek. So if one of the places you use to buy tickets is SeatGeek, you can use the promo code First Class. It's one word, First Class, and you save $20 on your tickets. All right, so if you're going to be going to any football games this year, and you're going to take the kids, or you're going to take the family, you're going to go with the boys, whatever you're going to do, go to SeatGeek.com or use the SeatGeek app. You use the promo code First Class. You save $20 on your tickets. I've had that promo code going for a long time. It gets deactivated when I don't have usage. I can fire it back up. I have it active now. So take advantage of that. Save 20. I think one of the things that sucks is the prices of the tickets have gone, they're too high. Right? They still, Trump did what he could to get rid of these access fees and stuff, and it seems like they're just putting it right into the ticket. That's what it looks like to me. It seems like they're still getting over on it. And the other thing that sucks about taking your kids to the game is the fact that everything you want to buy there is a crime. And they should be charged with a crime for selling you a hot dog for $18. Like, that should be a criminal offense. But anyway, we grin and bear it, and we do it, and a lot of people will be going. So if you want to save a couple of bucks, you can do it with that promo code First Class, one word, at SeatGeek.com, or use the SeatGeek app. All right, so kind of a quick hitter here for you guys today. Trump making the announcement right after I'm done. He'll be coming on. He's usually late, but, we'll see. It's supposed to have to do with the Space Force. That has been the word on the street, that it's going to be reversing a Biden-era decision to relocate Space Force Command headquarters from Colorado to Alabama. Now, I'm sure he's going to get into more and other stuff. And you're going to have so many people judging him. But, how does he look? Does he look healthy? Oh, he didn't look healthy in that video. And all these idiots. So it's like, it's so stupid to listen to the people that hate Trump. And you got to feel bad for them. They're having a tough time. The people that hate Trump are having a very tough time right now because Trump has been crushing it for the first 8 months of his second term. I mean, absolutely crushing it. So the people that hate him, you got to feel sorry for them because they're having a very difficult time. So. Somebody who we know is having a difficult time is Mayor Rudy Giuliani. We do pray for his continued success. Again, another guy that showed you the blueprint on how to handle the crime in these cities. He came in and took over New York City, which was far out of control, and brought the crime way down, helped New York City, obviously, through 9/11. So we pray for Rudy Giuliani to get better. That's what I got for you guys here today. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Don't forget to follow the show. Leave a comment and share this broadcast with everybody in your network, in your neighborhood. Don't keep it a secret. And I appreciate you guys tuning in. God bless you parents and your listeners out there. God bless our police, our first responders, our military, our veterans. God bless America. And I will catch you guys on Thursday.
You're listening to the Alec Lace Show. The future is family.